congratulations on Unbroken.
Thank you very much.
What did you think of the movie? Once you sat down and saw the film, soup to nuts, what did you think?
I loved it. And I'm very grateful that the story finally has made it to the screen in such a powerful and emotional way. So I'm very satisfied with it, and I believe that people, when they see the film, will have a very satisfying and full experience in seeing a story like this, in terms of it doesn't happen very much anymore with a studio film that's centered around people who are not in comic book clothing, and that it is a very truthful and successful adaptation of Laura Hillenbrand's beautiful book. So and also it's beautifully acted, and Angelina did a wonderful job in directing it. So I thought all of those things when I was able to see the first cut of the film a while ago.
I did want to ask you whether this film was difficult to get made.
It was difficult to get made in that I've been working on it for 17 years. It started way back, which is that in 1956, Lou had written his own book called Devil at My Heels that was sold to Universal, and Tony Curtis was going to play Lou. They decided at the time to not make the movie. Tony Curtis ended up doing Spartacus instead. Flash forward to 1998. There was a documentary on Lou's life that was made for the Nagano Olympics, the Winter Olympics, and Lou had come back as a former Olympian. So there was a 35-minute documentary made on Lou's life, telling his entire story, including footage of Lou at 81 years old running the torch, the Olympic torch, into Nagano, a community that was once where he was held captive. And so I was mesmerized by the documentary, and I couldn't believe that nobody had ever told this man's story, let alone that he was alive. So I met with Lou the next day after seeing the documentary, and we took the project back to Universal, who still maintained a chain of title right to Lou's rights for film. So I set up the project again, and we did several drafts of the script from 1998 to 2002. Good drafts, but no director that would make Universal make the movie said yes, which was incredibly frustrating. It's the same story that it's always been from 1950 and before, but it never had a perfect storm. And then in 2002, Laura Hillenbrand, while researching Seabiscuit, had discovered Lou's story, and so she wrote a book on Lou as well. It took Laura 8 years to write the book because Laura suffers from chronic fatigue syndrome of an extraordinary level. So then in 2010, when the book was finally ready, I went back to Universal after years of being told no by every financier under the sun using one of the scripts and the documentary. I went back to Universal with Laura's book, Unbroken. They bought the book, and then the project kicked off again, ultimately leading 2 years ago to Angelina's discovering it, and the script and the book. She and I got together, and the studio was very interested in working with her based on her other film, In the Land of Blood and Honey. So the combination of Laura's magnificent book and Angelina got the project going in a meaningful way, and then the Coen brothers came in and did a draft of the script, and then we were finally greenlit.
I was going to ask you what kind of producer you are, but I think you've answered the question. You're a bloody dogged one.
Yes, I am a dog. I'm a creative producer with a fierce belief in Louis Zamperini's story having a reason for being told, and so it doesn't come along very often, and so I refuse to believe that everybody who was saying no was right.
You also seem to have a renewed interest in World War II going your way, given the huge success of Fury and even Monuments Men.
I've never viewed Unbroken as a World War II film. Because it's not. The movie is not about the war. The movie is about a troubled kid from Torrance whose brother supported him, saved his life, and then he ended up becoming an Olympic athlete, and he ended up in a horrific situation, which was he was lost at sea for 47 days, and because he drifted, he ended up becoming a prisoner of war. And so then the movie is ultimately about this boy who would not get up, who would not stay down as a kid. As an adult, he did the same thing. He would not back down. And so that doesn't have anything to do with World War II. Now, what does have to do with World War II is honoring as much as possible the service of what these young people went through. And that's very accurately rendered in the film. These were men who were 18, 19, 20 years old who were being thrown into planes that didn't function, risking their lives all day long. Tens of thousands of young people killed. So the notion of honoring their service, that's very much a part of what Unbroken is. And certainly it's one of the reasons why we came to Australia, was because Australia had a profound connection to the World War II experience, especially in the prison camps where the vast majority of inmates in Nuetsu were Australian. So those issues to me are, I think that yes, Unbroken is set in World War II, but it's got much, it's got a very human component of it, because the first 45 minutes, 50 minutes of it are in period Torrance and about an athlete.
Why are there so few female directors in Hollywood?
It's somewhat nonsensical. And I think that it depends on the movie, really, which is that women have gravitated towards certain stories less so than men, and certainly when it comes to Hollywood, whatever the stigma is about women in the film business has been completely eliminated. Women are the chairman of the studios, and women are top agents and top executives. So I think that it's also a large part about it takes a lot of, on something like Unbroken, it took an extraordinary amount of time and commitment on Angelina's part to say, okay, I'm going to take this on. And the truth was that men passed over the years. But, I think that it is about, in many ways, in terms of Hollywood, it's based on a director's success. So that if there was a woman if there was a woman who happened to do movies like Judd Apatow does, for example, or like Jim Cameron, Catherine Bigelow is an example of somebody who is succeeding, and there are a handful of women that are doing it, but it's ultimately based on the success of how the movies do. But I think it's actually going to start to change in a positive way for women, because now that the studios are making less movies, but that the independent world is actually thriving, that there will be much more opportunity for women directors to get their shot. And then when they do, and the film is successful, then it will continue to further their own ability to get films made. So it has always been a bit of a mystery to me, actually. Because women have a tendency to be fantastic multitaskers, and direction is definitively in that category. But and I think Angelina's job in directing Unbroken is excellent proof of how it is beyond possible for women to make phenomenal films that in this case actually have an all-male cast, but this was an ideal marriage of director and material, actually.
Do you think that this film will help maybe redress the imbalance between her celebrity profile, which is Jovian in size, compared to her recognition of being a serious filmmaker?
Yeah, I do, because the work speaks for itself, and that she did what the best directors do, which is she had a clear vision for what the movie was going to be on difficult material. She assembled a tremendous crew. She cast the movie magnificently. And the message of what the movie is reflective of her own view of the world, and trying to be of service and trying to be encouraging of people being fair and good to each other. And also, again, to inspire people that no matter who you are, you can continue to push and fight for your dreams. So I do think that that it will further cement her as a filmmaker of a reservoir of talent in a variety of ways. And I'm really happy for her that she's done so, and fortunately had the wonderful good fortune of being the producer of a movie that ended up becoming such a successful book, and then ultimately also getting Angelina to become the leader.
Given that you've now brought the film to this point of its release, how nervous are you right now?
You know, I talk about this with my wife and my kids, which is that I'm really surprised about the lack of nerves that I feel, because it's so satisfying that the movie is now made. And so I'm really enjoying it, and obviously I want the movie to perform well. I want the movie to be seen and to be enjoyed and felt, but I'm actually very calm about it, because I feel incredibly satisfied that it's happened, and I know that in honoring my friend Lou's life, that we did justice to what his story was and what he wanted the message to be. So I feel very, I feel very pleased and relaxed about it. And Universal Studios is a magnificent place to be working with. Everybody in the company, and it's a big company, everybody is behind the film, from publicity and marketing and production. Everybody is rooting for Unbroken to be the success that we all hope it will be. So I'm being supported by an amazing group of people, so that also helps my lack of nerves. I trust them.